Hey man, big shout out to Lloyd, big shout out to the whole Millennium Tour and everybody that orchestrated it, man, to Elite for putting it together, man, the Black Stage planners and everything, man. It was amazing, man. We had a great time. Whole city came out, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the whole Bay Area for being great hosts, and we enjoyed the show, man. It was definitely dope, man. And later on, I'm going to elaborate a little bit more on this situation and this current topic of what I'm talking about. But what I'm going to talk about is support systems. It's imperative that we create support systems that continue to perpetuate positivity. Anything that's in your realm and in your reach of life, if it's not conducive to the mind state in which you're transitioning to, hey, stay away from it, man. And what I mean by that is there are things that have been the allowance of toxicity in our lives. It has to create a point of stop. It has to stop. We have to create certain boundaries. And then whatever that sacrifice may be, sometimes that sacrifice may be history. You may have history with a person. You may have, I was always told, man, I'm a firm believer that history doesn't equate to happiness. You can know someone and be with someone for several years and still just be unhappy. You'll become settled. And when you see people that become complacent in relationships, situationships, business jobs, careers, when they become settled, the expectancy of them of continuing to keep rising, it simmers, and in the dwindling of that also comes the aspirations to want more, to desire more. Man, I can't marginalize my desires when it comes to what it is that I see for myself and for my family. But before I get to my family, I have to make sure that I'm okay. And that means even if I have to track the journey of going out and sacrificing, sleep, or sacrificing certain things that have to be sacrificed for the fruition of what it is that I see fit for myself to maturate. I have to be able to do that, man. I got to grow. I got to continue to keep building. I've nowhere where I want to be in life, but I'm so far away from where I first started at. And I'm appreciative of it. Just because you want to continue to keep growing doesn't mean that you're greedy or any of that things. Hey, man, some of the things that I have now, I used to pray for it, but that's when my mind and my prayers were based off materialism. And in attaining those things, it's a blessing. I remember putting up on my board when I would my dream boards. Most of the things that I put on my dream board as a kid, I've accomplished some of the goals that I had on those things, and now here are my bigger, larger dream boards. And on those things, I'm going to put more stuff up, and I'm going to continue to go after them. And those support systems, hey man, it's so important that you have great support systems. I'm talking about in the household. I'm talking about in the workforce and wherever it is that you're at. Because any disruption of the positivity that you're putting into the universe can disrupt the whole mission. And many missions have been failed, aborted, and evaded because of a lack of support system. Hey man, sometimes, man, your peace is better than the pain. And even though you may love somebody, sometimes you gotta tell them, man, listen, I had a mission before I met you, and we may have came together and created a beautiful mission and path together, but I'll never forget my individual journey and the promise that I made to ancestors that have passed, to family members that are existing, and most of all, the promise that I made to myself that I'm going to continue to keep growing at all costs, by any means necessary. And hey, man, sometimes you got to pull your britches up, man, and say, man, I'm going to do this shit on my own if I have to. And you better, because some people get stagnated in their lack of growth or their lack of forward progress. And the first thing that they do is try to impede yours. Don't let that shit happen to you, man. Don't let love fuck up your vision. Don't let blind loyalty. Don't let none of that shit, man. You got to go make sure that you right. You hear me? I'll elaborate on it a little later on Stanley Sunday Sermons, man. Until then, I see y'all.